You know what I just realized, though?
What?
Now I don't have our opener because it's written on my phone. So we're just going to wing it again.
Or do you want to wait for this?
Nope. You're still converting, so no, that's okay. We tried.
Oh, should we just go? Hey!
Oh, God, YouTube. Thank you for being with us. You guys are saints.
Episode 32! What?
I know.
I don't know how it works on the phone. 32!
I know Justin is one of our religious YouTube watchers, and you're going to have a little treat at the end of my interview with Ian Thompson. He does a little Dave riffing on the guitar for you. So that's a nice little...
Buckle up.
Something to look forward to for you.
Also, nice nod to all of our Dave friends.
Yes. So should we record the opener?
I think so.
All right.
Stand by.
It's going to be a good day, episode 32.
Great interview for you guys today.
Yep. Hello, and welcome to the BOWA show.
I love how you drag that out every time.
I do every
Welcome to the BOWA show.
It's being mocked now by people,
Is
so
it?
that means it's doing its job.
Who's mocking you?
Well, Leah said, hello,
Oh.
BOWA show, so it's being recognized.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you so much for joining us, living a positive life in a world that makes that incredibly difficult at times.
It's cold, Sean.
It is. This is the BOWA Show. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify.
Find us on Facebook. Find us on Twitter. We're working on an Instagram. If you have a social media platform that you would recommend, hit us up. But
not MySpace.
Not TikTok and not MySpace. No TikTok. I am 28.
Yes.
Not doing it.
I don't have time for that.
Nobody ain't got time for that.
Nobody got time for that.
Hide your kids. Hide your wife. Because there's a freaking blizzard here in Michigan.
Yeah, and it's only the beginning of November.
God, they had 30 inches up by my dad in Empire.
Oh, wow.
30 inches in 12 hours.
Yep, that's a blizzard right there.
I feel grateful that I'm not there.
Right. We actually kind of missed out here.
Yeah,
Grand Haven and
surprisingly.
Muskegon got the least of it, which
Yep.
is shocking for anybody who knows the Michigan area.
Yeah, if you don't know, we're on the very, very west coast of Michigan here in Grand Haven. If you go west from Grand Rapids and you hit the lake, you're here. Congratulations, you made it. And normally we get real rocked with some good snow, and I'm sure it's coming later in the season, but
hopefully not right now.
I need 1 or 2 more days where I can wash my car,
Yep.
check my oil again.
We
and
do
fill
have
up my
some
tires.
40 on the way in the extended forecast, so.
Yep, I know, because I got to go do an install at work, and I need the windows to be at least 45 degrees, and I'm not sure it'll make it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll keep our fingers crossed for you and your job, Ben.
I'm just very... just very grateful that when it does come down to it, I have heat.
Yep.
I have a family to talk to when I'm freezing balls off.
Roof over your head.
Roof over my head.
Yep.
It's falling in, but you'll get to it next year.
That's right. You're on the project list.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a really, really special episode for everybody today.
Yep, joined by another guest, which is amazing.
Yes,
and he is a longtime friend of mine.
He actually opened up the podcast.
Every episode for the last
episode.
30 days, or for the last 30 episodes, even though he didn't remember, which is something that we talked about. But Ian Thompson, everybody, will be my guest today. We're going to talk about something that's a subject that's close to his heart, and I know close to your heart too, Ben, so I bet you're going to be able to add quite a bit to this pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed. Sean went over to Ian's earlier today, and I was unable to join for the interview, but it's very, very close to my heart, and I know Ian and I would be very good friends, but the idea of music or sound playing a huge impact on the way we perceive the world around us and how our brain actually reacts and how it changes the way we react in turn.
And Ian is just a big believer in art and being a part of happiness, or at least guiding emotions. That's something that we talk about quite a bit in there, and him talking specifically about the influences that it's made on his life, and also how, an exercise that he has practiced is an easy translator into meditation. So it helps with mindfulness. It's going to be something good for you guys to check out, and I know it'll give me and Ben something else to talk about afterwards, which will be nice as well.
Absolutely. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, but I think we should kick this episode off the same way we start every episode with, I've got some good news for you.
All right, let's give it a listen.
If we had a jingle, now would be the time you hear that jingle. Good news! Ba-da-da-da!
Yep.
You just got a jingle, so.
There you go, that's our new
that
jingle.
One's free.
Ba-da-da-da.
We're going to isolate just
coining
that
it.
little tiny track and replay that every time now.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Give this one a listen.
What is it, Ben?
Oh, this one. This one is called, it's Move-In Day, and it's about veterans in Kansas City. And I believe the community built a bunch of tiny homes for them.
Yep.
We'll get more specifics. But it's really awesome, with Veterans Day just being this past Monday. It's something that's close to my heart as well. I have a friend in the armed forces currently. I have multiple relatives who have served. I wish that I could have served. It didn't work out at that point in my life, but I think that people who serve in the military or people who, fight for their own country, wherever it is, are people that really see beyond just their own self-worth. Mm-hmm. And I think that just instantly makes me respect a person to a certain extent, because I understand they're already thinking about something other than themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's more than a lot of people can say.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
I'm very excited. It's really short, it's really nice, and it'll warm us up here. What do you think?
Yeah, just a feel-good piece. Take a listen.
Before we leave you tonight, we wanted to show you a tiny project that should have a very big impact on veterans in our city. There are tiny homes being built, and they'll be in the Southwest. And when the new community opens next year, there will be as many as 25 units specifically for homeless veterans. It's a joint venture between ATCO, the Mustard Seed, and the Homes for Heroes Foundation. Each unit is 275 square feet, and the hope is they'll help veterans transitioning from military to civilian life get back on their feet. Uh-huh. The CBC's Monty Kruger got a sneak peek today at a couple of completed homes.
So what you see today is you see our first set of tiny homes that'll be put up in Forest Lawn in Calgary. We anticipate early spring, summer. There'll be a minimum of roughly 20 to 25 homes in each village. And then, so we require about an acre to build. As well, there'll be a full resource center and counselor's office. So what that offers is the ability is the group to come together and to share on that peer programming. And then as well, that individual counseling support. Counselors will be there from 9 to 5. And then as well, there'll be a space that the tenants, our veterans, can use to host their families. We have a lot of our vets that are having these issues and difficult transitioning and could be on the streets that have families waiting for them. So we need to bring them part of that healing process. Veterans will be paying a small rent, and that'll help cover the cost of the month-to-month running of the facility and, of course, all the counseling services that's provided. But that is a low subsidized rent. Well, the numbers that have been released with Veterans Affairs is about 2,600 homeless vets across Canada. And that's vets that are having a difficult time transitioning. We believe that estimate is low. So we think that the numbers are more to 5,000 to 7,000 people that are veterans that are experiencing homelessness. And that's far too many.
It was far too many. And I can only imagine what the numbers are in the United States.
God, yeah, no kidding. It's close to when yours cuts off sometimes. You want to check?
Yeah, might as well. Wow. Nope, still going good. Thanks, YouTube, for always bearing with us. I'm going to flip my phone on to do not disturb here.
I bet you're blowing their speakers out.
Probably.
We try to do a lot of things, just
right.
The two of us.
It's tough, but we make it work, guys.
We're the writers, directors, producers. and the
hosts.
and the cast.
Right? But you guys are always bearing with us, and we're still recording, which is beautiful. And now we'll jump back into it. I love that. I also think, too, we were confused. I think we said Kansas City, and it's Calgary.
Well, you said Kansas City.
Did I? I was wrong.
Yeah, I wrote it down. You told me Kansas City.
Yep, so apparently it's Calgary.
I got to change it in our description.
Okay, that's all right. But what I was going to say is
let's bring it to Kansas City.
And I think, too, I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure the article she sent to us was. So maybe we got a different clip, but...
Maybe they're doing the same thing in Calgary.
You know what the point is that this is a good thing.
They got it figured out, eh?
And veteran homelessness and mental health are two things that kind of go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they're creating like a helpful culture there as well, and like providing these counseling services and giving you a place to stay that's out of the cold for that transitional period to get back on your feet, could be such a tremendous asset for a lot of people out there. So it's really cool to see them kind of at least trying to put a foot in the door of fighting this battle.
Well, and I know they said in the interview, and some people might have gawked at it, but 275 square feet in each tiny house. Now, a lot of people are saying, hey, that's not a lot of space.
Right.
But I promise you, Sean and I were watching the videos. These are awesome looking places.
You've got a bed, you've got a little kitchen, you've got all this space that's utilized to the maximum.
Bigger than most hotel rooms that I have seen, and bigger than, well, that sounds terrible too. I've been in a nice hotel, but it's much bigger than what I've seen in some assisted living homes. Sometimes I walk into an assisted living home and it's like a hostel. I've seen some really rough areas, and especially for the cost and for the mental health help as well. Mm-hmm. I think it's absolutely wonderful, and it gives them also a community to come together where they feel they have their own place, which they do, and also they're all around each other for support.
Yep, and a lot of times, you know, those veterans struggling early on kind of struggle to relate to average society, you know, and like you haven't seen the things that they've seen, right. So it's hard for a lot of normal, everyday people to try and relate to those experiences. So putting them around other people who are gonna relate, who are gonna say, yeah, man, I'm going through it too. We're in this together. Let's fight this battle together.
It builds a great community.
Yeah,
that's what it really does. And that once you've got a good small community inside of an even larger community, that only helps benefit the larger society in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So I thought it was pretty cool too. Thinking about it, don't take this the wrong way, Sean, but I think it's nice that we're giving back to the people who need it. Mm-hmm. A lot of times there's a lot of, you know, people who complain about the amount of money that comes out of our taxes and goes to those that aren't working or who are on disability or people who have all sorts of income issues. And that is a whole nother argument. Mm-hmm. But the idea here is these people do need a little bit of assistance. People who have fought for our freedom, people who have given their own personal self to protecting the rights of us as U.S. citizens and protecting our rights and our livelihood. Those kind of people do deserve our help. I don't care if your opinion is everybody deserves help or nobody deserves help. These people do. These people have already given what is required of them for them to be moving into those homes, in my opinion, and I'm so excited for them to be at the forefront of this, because oftentimes I think veterans get overlooked.
Yeah, and you know, how many of these circumstances are the direct result of what they've seen overseas, you know what I mean, and a result of the price that they paid for our freedom. And you know, whether you're for or against Republicans or Democrats or which side of the aisle you fall on,
for or war against war.
Exactly, it's easy to say that like these people deserve our support, you
Absolutely.
know, no matter what aisle you fall on, you can be totally against war and support our soldiers
because somebody gave their life and gave what they were doing at that point in their life, and they said it's not about self-worth, it's about what I can do for my country.
Yep.
That is a brave thing that a lot of people are not willing to do, and the people that do, I very much commend those people.
Yep, and it's fitting too that it's just shortly after Veterans Day, so
yes.
As you know, we did when we had Scott on the show too, to make sure we always put our military into the forefront of our thoughts and prayers and positive vibes, and those are the people who are out there fighting the fight so that we sit at home and can record a podcast.
yeah, for any people out there in the armed service or veterans, thank you for your service, and we really appreciate it. This is America, where we can put our thoughts out there on any given night, put it out there on the internet. We can say whatever we want, and we don't have to worry about getting shut down or thrown in jail.
Unless you say certain things on Facebook.
I mean, but that's just the informed Grand Haven informed pages that are going to shut us down.
That's right.
No, but thank you very much for your service.
Yep, thank you guys. And I think it's a good time to jump into our interview today.
I'm excited.
Right?
I personally have not heard the whole interview between Sean and Ian, so
yep. So we're going to give it a listen behind the scenes while you guys listen to it on the show. But yeah, it's Ian Thompson. He is the opener of the show. Every time that you hear it, it's Lake Attilan, I want to say. But I can't.
I always thought Atlian.
Right, something.
But that's very Midwestern.
Something like that. Ian pronounces it correctly in the interview, so you guys will be able to hear that. But I am super glad that he was willing to join us. Not only a talented musician, but broadening his horizons in the education field. Recently got a job with South by Southwest in Texas.
Very good.
Yep, so a pretty big music festival that a lot of you guys out there have heard of. Yep, but
that's creative.
That's what he was going to say, is that it's branched into an extra 2 or 3 weeks now of just like educational conferences and stuff that go along with it. Video gaming, music, art, interactive science and education. So it's really cool.
I've never been, but I know a lot of people who've been to South by, and my ex-girlfriend was a huge believer in South by. She had gone at least, I think she went 2 times, but she came back and it was just so much energy and excitement and rejuvenation as a human race, and being excited to get into art in general, music, film, art itself, in all sorts of different ways. And I think that things like that bring people together and create community. And we've talked about community already in this episode. I think it's super important, and it's awesome when we can come together as human beings and create something like an event like South by, and it just makes everybody happy and rejuvenated to go out and be even more creative once we come back. That is what drives the human race forward, is things like that. So I want to hear more about what Ian has to say about it.
Yeah, and he's one of my oldest friends. He and I have known each other forever, going back to elementary school, and he has seen many of the phases of Sean in the progression throughout the years. All of them. Yeah, he has been there through.
That's a collector's series,
right? That's exactly right. He has also given a TED Talk, TEDx talk at GVSU, Grand Valley State University, on deep listening. So it's a cool topic that you basically put yourself in an environment and you use the different sounds of said environment to create a composition, and it's something that he put a lot of time into. And it's almost a form of meditation. So it was cool to just see, how our conversation flows, and you can hear that we're just old friends sitting down having a conversation. So I know that it was something I really enjoyed, and I think you guys will enjoy Ian Thompson as well. And he is someone playing in the Grand Rapids area. At the end of the interview, you can find out about some of his closely timed upcoming shows before he leaves town for Texas. So make sure you go check those out, and you can find me at one of those shows as well. So if you're interested in a face-to-face with Sean from the BOWA show, most of you already knowing me in person anyway, but if you want to come out and have a beer, there'll be a chance, and find out exactly where you can do that at the end of this interview.
Look at that.
Right as we get done, it finishes.
Declined.
Declined?
Take 76.
Hello, YouTubers. It's a unique setting today, as you'll notice. We are out and about with the BOWA show, and I'm joined by a very special guest today. We're throwing it way back for everybody out there. Not many people will know this, but we actually did a show together in 6th grade. The Ian and Sean show. Yeah, we were pushing those YouTube hits way before YouTube was ever out there.
Right,
so.
yeah, we would have went viral for sure.
Oh yeah, for terrible reasons, but it would have happened nonetheless. But Ian is one of my oldest friends in the world. I've known you forever. You've been putting up with me for way too long. He can attest that this Sean has not always been around. I used to make people pay me ruffles to play football with me at recess.
If they weren't cheesy ruffles.
You weren't on my team. You don't bring regular ruffles around me.
It's offensive.
Cheesy ruffles For sure. So I haven't always been this nice guy. Ian knows that. He can attest to that. Even though he's seen me grow and change, he still remembers the little dickhead Sean running around the playground. So not a whole lot has changed, but some things have changed.
Right.
Very happy to have you with me today.
Thanks.
And how you doing?
Good. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
In the house, we made some mac and cheese earlier, which has been a ritual that we've been
So
doing
glorious.
for years.
I love me some homemade mac and cheese, listeners out there. Don't send me it though, because that would be weird.
Yeah, that might be gross.
But yeah, you get it like a week later in the mail. Yeah, I'll pass on that one. But I'm really happy to have Ian here today because as anybody who watches the show knows that recently I talked about how I just want more guests. I want more people's stories out there. I want more people who are doing stuff in the community and people who are putting a face on different things throughout their different worlds. And I'm so happy you were willing to take the time to talk with me today because it's a topic that's really close to my heart and I'm really passionate about it and I know you're super passionate about it, and that's music. And I think it's something that everybody out there can relate to for this one today. Just because of the fact that I know in my own life, music has played such a part in reshifting my attitude and finding positivity. I notice that like when I drive around and listen to music, I'm listening to upbeat things. I'm listening to positive songs. I'm listening to songs that make me feel good, you know? And I feel like there are a lot of people out there who are driving around listening to stuff that pisses them off because they have some terrible looks on their faces.
Yeah. I've experienced, I've been teaching for years, so I've had students who that's what they like. They like music that gets them, in the mood to just work out or punch something even, I've heard.
Right.
But, so yeah, music definitely changes your mood, and you can use it to enhance your mood in a positive light, or for me, sometimes I even listen to music if I want to feel something other than what I'm feeling. It can bring me to a place where maybe I can't quite get the words for a feeling, or it brings me somewhere that is outside of what I'm feeling right now. So yeah, music is incredible to change your mood, and
And I know too that, it's not just like I'm blindly sitting here talking to Joe Schmo about this. Ian has actually given a TED Talk at GVSU, which is really cool to me that you went outside your comfort zone, especially.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows Ian knows he's not exactly the public speaker.
Right.
I'll carry the weight for that on this whole dialogue. Yeah. We'll just use Ian for his brilliant insights.
Right. I'm definitely more of an introverted person.
That's
so
right.
Public speaking is not my strong suit, but I did a TED Talk called. Really, I focused on the exercise of deep listening, which was a concept that was pioneered by Pauline Oliveros in the '80s, where she would take these classically trained musicians into caves and caverns and empty warehouse spaces, and they would just explore the sound. So I kind of took that idea and I've used it in some studio projects where I've created these soundscapes and these compositions that are recordings from pretty much the environment that I'm in. So if I'm in a certain location, I'll record just sounds of nature, industrial sounds, cars going by, anything that can kind of be the audio footprint of this area, and I'll make it and I'll turn it into a composition. And kind of this practice of deep listening, by doing that, like really makes you more connected with the area that you're in just by listening. So it also, helps you be more conscious and aware of everything that's going on.
That's what I was about to say. Mindfulness is what it kind of brings me to. And we talk a lot on this show about being in the moment, being present, and how a lot of things in this world are kind of made to make you shuffle from one thought to the next without that connectedness to the moment. And so it's really cool that you got to spend some time talking to college kids who probably really lack in mindfulness, because they're always worried about their next test, their next exam. You're always worried about your degree. You're worried about, the future. And that's what college kids are all about. So giving them a talk about groundedness was probably a little bit different for some of them.
Yeah, everybody needs it. Adults too. I've been practicing yoga and meditation for years now, and it's still a struggle. Every day we get so lost in our thoughts, and just being aware of your thoughts and conscious every moment is difficult to do. So it's a practice that is like that you should continue your entire life. And I think just being aware of sounds around you is a really good way to just bring you right back here. If you're lost in your head and thought, and you're angry or upset, or some emotion is kind of coming over you, it's pretty much all in your head. And if you can just sit here and listen to the sounds, listen to the vent blowing air, wind blowing outside, like that can just get you grounded in this moment.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny too, and just sitting here, you'd think it's pretty quiet, but then you do start noticing things. You hear the vent, you can kind of hear the high-pitched frequency of like the lights, like that hurts. And there are so many more sounds in your immediate environment that are probably just passing you by all the time. And I like that too, because a lot of people really struggle with just like the breathing of mindfulness, or like they say it's impossible to try and think of nothing, and that's kind of the idea behind mindfulness. I like that what you're doing is kind of giving you a concentrated thought, where it's not about thinking about nothing, it's about thinking about nothing that is something,
Yeah, there are these different levels of meditation that I think people can get to, and for me, I'm still at a pretty basic level. That is a basic level of just, for me, it's just being aware of my thoughts. Like if a thought comes in my head, to not fixate on the thought and just kind of let it pass by, and just observe it and know that it's there. There are other meditation, transcendental meditation, stuff like that I haven't personally gotten into, but yeah, the just hearing the sounds around you is a super easy way to stay grounded.
Now, I know you have your laptop there to kind of put you on the spot. Do you have an example on there of like one of the songs that you made? That like we could just play free right here,
I could also just send it to you, I think, and that way the audio might be a little bit better.
Yeah. Put that in the clip along with the audio to this one, and we'll kind of just plug in a spot, just for people to get an idea of what we're talking about.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I'd love for people to actually hear what you're talking about, because it's really cool to just take sounds of the city almost and develop them, and it's just through like looping and really listening to the environment around you to create a unique sound from it. So it's something I'd like for all you guys to experience out there. So we'll include a clip of that. YouTube, I guess you guys are screwed. You're not going to get it, but that's okay. YouTube's used to being on the short end of the stick. They get like behind the scenes. Have you watched any of the YouTube?
I haven't watched the YouTube.
All right, so I know that like a lot of people haven't, and if you watch YouTube, it's definitely way more like me and Ben like getting pissed at each other or getting pissed at like the software messing up.
It's easy to do.
Yeah, exactly. As we were experiencing before we started here today. We were originally gonna have a nice 2 mic setup and all figured out. Nope, all out the window, and here we are. And that is podcasting in a nutshell. You figure it out as you go, and you just kind of work your way through it. But yeah, we'll be sure to include a clip for anybody who wants to jump on the podcast, listen to the audio. Maybe we'll tag a point so you know where to skip ahead to if you want to hear that. But yeah, I know that you had a couple of things specifically too that you had wanted to talk about today, and I wanted to get into kind of like happiness in music, I guess, or like using music to curtail happiness, and manifesting that, or like any kind of educational thoughts behind it. So I guess where we'll go even broader than that though to start. So where has music taken you? And that is a really broad question that I'm leaving open for a reason.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Music has just been such a part of my life for such a long time. Riding in the cars with Kyle to high school, we used to just like, that was the thing, is we would put on a CD and listen to an album like on the way there and back. So my interest for music has gone back a long, long way, and I think I've used it for myself as an outlet for everything, man. It's a meditative experience for me when I play music, when I practice. When I play with other people, it's a way for me to connect and to socialize. I'm not a super social person. I like doing things with people. So music is perfect for me because I can, I get put in these settings where I don't even know the people. And I have to like do this thing. I have to play 2 hours of music with these people I've never met before on a gig. Yeah. And it's not about any of us personally, we have to like let go of our egos and just create this thing, because we're really playing for the music. It's we're not playing for ourselves in that moment.
Yeah.
So I've used it as a creative outlet for myself.
Yeah, and something that pushes you outside your comfort zone, because like you said, you're a bit introverted in your everyday life, that a lot of people out there, apparently that video just got cut off. Thank goodness I got a phone call out of nowhere.
We've been talking for hours.
Right. Little did I know that my podcasts are now taking up, there's my hat. I was like, where the hell is my hat? Little did I know that my podcasts on my phone are taking up 200 gigs of data.
Offload your podcasts.
Everybody out there, if you listen to podcasts, don't let the BOWA show take up 20 gigs of your phone space. Just go in there and erase the old ones. It's okay. We still got the credit for the download, so. But we're back at it. And we were talking about music and specifically that it being your creative outlet. And I think that something you can really relate to is that it goes much deeper than just music, that it's about art, and I know for your experiences, art is more than just like black and white, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like most of when you say an art education to a lot of people, you might just think like when you went to middle school and high school, you took like a painting class, you took a ceramics class, and you made a few things and you took it home, which is great. But art is much more than just like these hands-on kind of like technical things. It's a way of thinking creatively.
Yeah.
And there's so much I could say about that, of why art is important and art education is important. But it just, it makes us reflect on ourselves, our position of the world. We can kind of look into, maybe how other people view things by viewing their art and listening, and
a connectedness between us.
Right.
And something I know you had said to me, I don't know if it actually made the cut or not, we'll find out later, but that someone had said all things can be art.
Right, yeah. There was an artist, can't think of her first name, but her last name is Ukalees, and she had a couple big exhibitions where she basically, it was the idea that everything you do is art,
mm-hmm.
whether it's if you're a custodian and you mop floors, or you're a carpenter and you do painting or anything like that. Like the way that you do everything is considered artistic, mm-hmm. because you have a unique stamp in the way that you do it.
Yeah. And I know I had said to you that it was something where I can relate to that in roofing, that our foreman does things with a signature, and he can tell a roof that's 12 years old if he did it or not by certain little things that he does differently than other guys do. So even just in forms of general construction, you can still find that art form. And, it's up to you about, do you bring the passion out in it, though? Do you make it your art form, or do you just kind of let it be another thing that you're just going through the motions for?
Right, yeah.
And that's where I feel like that art appreciation can be so great for you, because we were talking too that a lot more people should have that kind of an arts education, in one way or another. Like, I can understand if you don't want it to be your major. I can understand if it's not going to be a good, well-paying job. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what you're setting your sights on, no, it's probably not for you. But that doesn't mean you can't take some classes. That doesn't mean that you can't broaden your horizons of art.
Yeah.
I know for me, I've never had an emotional reaction to like a painting. I've never had that. And I've had that with music for sure. Mm-hmm. Like the first time you hear someone sing and their voice gives you goosebumps and you're like, oh man, that just hits a totally different level for me. And I haven't ever had that with paintings or anything. And so I would like to, for me, I could see how that would be beneficial to try and broaden those horizons, learn what things mean. You know what I mean? There's such a deeper symbolism to art than you think there is.
Yeah, and you don't have to be super educated on art history to understand a painting. I mean, it's a way of just viewing something and the thought process behind viewing something or listening to something. It's kind of connected to that like mindfulness or thing that we talked about, that like, if you view something, you can think about, like, you can reflect of like, how does this make me feel? Like, who's this artist? Like, what are they trying to say? What feelings does it invoke? Is there a larger theme on this sort of thing? So it's, an art education isn't just to pump out like artists and make, but the point of like an art education is to produce critical thinkers. We need more critical, empathetic thinkers in the world, in any job.
Yeah. Yeah, and how much it can relate to that. And I love too that your music, and I don't know why I keep tying it in, because I know it wasn't like a musical trip, but your trip to like Middle America, and going to Guatemala and you said Belize, yep, and Mexico, yep, those three, because I'm pretty sure that's something that got cut out, so we'll go back to that.
Sure.
But yeah, it wasn't musically involved at all, was it?
No.
I mean, other than like you kind of took inspiration from the trip to then write music,
Right.
which
right.
anybody out there who appreciates the opening to this show, that is a kudos to Ian Thompson. When we talked about it the first time, he's like, "Oh yeah, I did give you the opener," and had totally forgotten that you even wrote it. So, what is the title of that one again?
Yeah, the title's Lake Atitlan, which is an inactive volcano in Guatemala on Lake Atitlan, it's just like a really gorgeous, beautiful place. We had stayed there in this like Airbnb, had this hammock on top of the roof and just chilled there, and I wrote this song in GarageBand. So.
Right, and the first time I heard it, I could just tell, like, I could feel the positivity out of it,
Yeah.
and there's no lyrics, it's just a really basic 1.5, 2-minute song, and the first time I heard it, I was just like, that's just perfect. So I'm glad that Ian was willing to give us that for the beginning of every episode. So as you've heard me say multiple times, thank you to Ian Thompson for the opener of our show. Now you're looking at Ian Thompson in the flesh. But did you go on that trip with Corey?
I did.
Okay, and that's why I guess I kind of have like musical ties to it anyway, because at least you were, with Super Happy Fun Time with Corey.
Yeah.
And that's something I don't think we've talked about on this yet either. Ian traveled with Super Happy Fun Time burlesque show. As you can imagine, it was a super happy fun time. Other than some of your travel experiences.
That's one thing to describe it.
So they traveled the country and did a touring burlesque show, and it was really what put your foot in the door of like traveling gigs, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the first time I had played out of state ever. So I think I played in like 25 or 30 different states with them. Over
It was
like
pretty
4
early
years.
in your show, in like your career too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the first tour I've ever.
Yep, because so for anybody out there who doesn't know, Ian, like we were talking right before this video cut off about how your music kind of started with Kyle and like listening to all different kinds of things when you were in high school. You started more with guitar, didn't you?
I started drums.
Okay, that was it. Yep, drums.
Took drum lessons from a guy who was in a Beatles cover band. He looked just like Ringo.
Did he
had,
really?
Like a bowl cut.
So he was fully committed to the role in the
He
Beatles cover band.
He lived that lifestyle. That's how I started. I kind of gave it up. I kind of got into like different types of music, and as like a young boy, you just can't concentrate on a lot of stuff, man. I just had to run around and
Yeah, being fully committed to one instrument at a time when your ADD is going crazy in the world is more difficult.
I mean, because I've been a teacher, so I've had a lot of male and female students, and it's tough for boys with testosterone to be like sitting down and studying things. So
your brother Kyle can attest with me. He tried teaching me guitar, and God bless Kyle for his efforts, but I need to get back into it because, like I said, I've lost touch with that one. So, but yeah, I know that like it kind of started there. The seeds were planted with Kyle and listening to all different kinds of music. You transitioned, I mean, that was probably what, like 18, 19 years old. You got more into the guitar, right?
Yep.
And messing around with that. And then when did you start bass?
Yeah, it's kind of later. I think when I was 21, I bought a really cheap, electric acoustic bass for like $100, and then took lessons at Triumph Music Academy, which I ended up teaching at.
Shout out to Triumph.
Yeah, for like 6 months, and then I ended up getting my first gig.
Yep.
Which is funny. I mean, there's a joke about bassists, which is like, I guess I'll just tell the joke.
Right.
It's so like a son is taking lessons from his dad. He's taking bass lessons. So the first lesson, the son comes in. The dad shows him, okay, play the lowest string. He's like, he plays the lowest string. He's like, that's the E string. Okay, that's it. Go practice. Come back the next day. So he's okay. That's it. He's like, okay. So comes back the next day. He's like, okay, play the next string. He's like, okay. He's like, that's the A string. Okay, that's it for this
Come
week.
back tomorrow.
Come back next week. We'll learn another thing. The son doesn't show up to the lesson the next week. So the dad sees his son. He's like, hey, where were you? And he's like, sorry, Dad, I had a gig.
After 2 strings, you're good to go.
So yeah, it's kind of like that's kind of the joke for bass players. That it's like, yeah, if you can hold this thing, you can probably get a gig.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, I had studied for like 6 months. Went to GRCC and got a music performance degree. Studied classical for like a year, and then jazz upright bass for a couple of years, and then kind of really just started gigging as much as I possibly could.
Yep. Super Happy Fun Time was pretty early on though for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was. I played in pretty much just a cover band before that. And like
That's right, with Kyle.
Yeah, and like school ensembles and stuff. So I knew how to read music pretty well, and then, yeah, that was pretty much my first like real professional touring gig. Yeah.
I like it. And Super Happy Fun Time was just a good trial by fire, I guess, you know? Like, where it's enough of a relaxed atmosphere that, like, you know you're not super high pressure, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you're getting used to, like, learning things on the fly, adjusting, maybe, like, how certain people in the band play and how you can kind of, like, cater to that.
Yeah. Well, man, a lot of that show was, like, it was more controversial situations I'd ever been in. So that gig was a lot. I mean, it was like musically, I was learning a lot, touring across the country, playing this like really pretty complex music. But we were going into like these podunk towns in like Wyoming, Michigan, to a cowboy bar and singing, like you can't make fun of Jesus and like fuck bus.
And they're like, not responding quite the way you
actually
think.
You know, those people responded pretty well.
That's awesome.
It was but you know, we were thrown in these situations where like it's a really controversial show. If you haven't checked out Super Happy Fun Time Burlesque, they're
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube, just check out the videos, the Facebook page. Corey is an insane person. And
it's not touring anymore, right?
No, they're still
touring. Okay, right. I know you're not with them anymore, but so it's cool that they're still continuing on. Because I was gonna ask what Corey's up to nowadays, like what kind of projects he's doing. Because he was always so damn funny that I could have easily seen him doing almost anything, entertainment-wise. You know, like he probably could have been a comedian just as easily as he was a musician. You know, just one of those guys. And that's kind of like art. You know, that it seems to transcend a lot of things. And that's kind of what it made me think of with you, with picking up guitar first and then kind of transitioning it to bass. And now you're trying to like dabble with piano. You're trying to learn other things. You're just trying to expand that creative process for yourself almost. Which is the inspiring thing to me, you know. And it kind of ties in a unique way to like your career path you're kind of choosing now with like, you know, different educational platforms, with teaching people, with just expanding knowledge in general.
Yeah. I mean, just like just living a creative life. I mean, trying new things, going new places, taking up, you know, new hobbies that challenge you, like physically or mentally. You know, I kind of just. The people who I look up to and I kind of like think about, that's kind of how I want to live my life. That's what they do. I mean, people who I look up to who are in their 50s and 60s are like still challenging themselves mentally learning new things and realizing that like life is an endless, like you just learn. There's not a point, and I learned this several years ago where I was just like, when I get older, I'll figure it out. I'll have things figured out.
Yeah.
You know, and then I got to this point where I was like, man, I'm never gonna figure shit out.
Yeah.
I'm just always going to be learning and changing and adapting. And once I kind of realized that, I was like, okay, I feel a little better about this.
That's actually figuring it all out, is figuring that you're never going to figure anything out. You know?
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny, because ultimately, like, anybody who's listened to, like, the first couple episodes has heard about Ian and our relationship and everything. I talk about friendships and stuff like that and the different paths that I've crossed. But my original idea for a podcast was probably like 7 or 8 years ago, the very beginning of podcasting. And I said I just wanted it to just be you and me, to just sit down and have talks about different topics of life, because there are so many different things that you and I agree on, and we come from two totally different places. You know, you're a pretty open, I don't know, do you still consider yourself an atheist? Or are you more like agnostic in now?
I'm an anti-theist.
Okay, I guess I'm not, I have no idea what the hell that even means.
It's pretty just like, it's just it's a term Christopher Hitchens.
Okay. But I love the fact that, like, you know, I'm pretty rooted in my religion, or in at least in general faith. You know, I'm never concrete in like, this is the way it is, and if you don't agree with me, then fuck you. You know, that's never been me. But I definitely like feel like a lot of my core traits come from my religious background, and you know, I love the fact that you and I come from such totally different mindsets, but agree on so many different things. And I feel like it's a microcosm for like how the world could be. You know, if we focus on what we agree on, you and I get along great. If we wanted to spend all day arguing about the couple of things we disagree on, we might not have ever had the friendship that we do today. You know. And I feel like that's a message for anybody out there too. Talk to people, you know, open dialogues. You don't have to agree with everything someone says to find common ground. And I think art and music can be a big bridger of that gap.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, like, it's everything that just feels so heated. Conversations feel so heated now. I mean, there's so many, like, people are wrapped up in like their political ideologies, and there's like, you know, not really good conversations being had, especially with like tough topics. And I think that's like something that we just started doing years ago, is we would just talk about something. Like, even if we disagreed, we'd still talk about it and like try to understand each other's perspective and each other's point, and realize that like we can disagree and still be friends. Right. And we can still try to figure out solve a problem, you know, with disagreeing, you know. So.
And it's led to some pretty deep conversations between us over the years. And I feel like that's something, too, that everybody out there needs. You need that friend that you can just, like, you know, I mean, you and I can go quite a while without seeing each other, and as soon as we do, it's like we don't miss a beat, you know? Like, right back to where we left off, always just diving into good conversations. 30 minutes ago, we were talking about aliens and my thoughts of, like, aliens coming to Earth versus your thoughts of aliens coming to Earth.
Which we disagreed on.
Which we disagreed on totally. I'm over here like, no, man, if aliens come, they're super peaceful because they're super smart. And he's like, man, but they could be, like, crazy religious fanatics from another planet who are just like, fuck you guys. And it's like, yeah, that's true. They could. But even on things like that, you know, you just need those people in your life that you can have that conversation with, that you can just immediately go from one spot to the next. You don't have to see each other every day to have a meaningful relationship, to have that connectedness. And I felt like it was really important to get you on here before you moved down to Texas for your new job. I don't know if that made the cut, that Ian accepted a job with South by Southwest. A little bit about that. What are you doing down there again?
I work in the planning department.
Okay.
So kind of oversee, you know, tentacles of the planning department go into every other department and just make sure logistical things happen.
Yep. Anybody out there listening is probably very familiar with South by Southwest in the music sense, you know, because that's like what it's most known for, isn't it?
That's what it started in like the 80s. It was pretty much music, festival and conference, and now it's expanded to have an education portion, interactive film, gaming portion. So
that's pretty sweet. So it's now a much longer conference. It's not just like the music festival that everybody sees and hears about.
It's almost 3 weeks long.
Okay. So Ian will be moving to Texas and accepting that job for their planning division. And so I wanted to make sure before you took off that I had you on here for at least part of a talk. I'm going to guess I'm going to have a couple more recorded conversations with you in the future. Yeah. Just because, like I said, we can talk about the most random shit. And it'll at least be a good conversation. Yeah. So, but yeah, the original idea of like the Sean and Ian show being like one atheist perspective, one theological perspective, and how we can still find common ground for almost everything out there. So if we can get along great, God, everybody else out there, come on, get it together, people.
Right.
But
yeah, the Ian and Sean show was a show that we started when we were
bored in the summer.
Yeah, but you know, it relates to what we're talking about. I mean, we were being creative with what we had. I mean, obviously when you're younger, like you don't really have anything to do, so you just kind of like explore.
And we thought it was the coolest shit ever to watch ourselves on TV. Yeah, we're gonna record this on a camera and then we're gonna put it on the television and watch it back later.
Right. Yeah.
And like that really was our creative outlet. And it was funny too. We'd even just record like sports. You know, like we'd be playing football at Joel's and we'd be like, oh yeah, let's record this and we can watch it back later in case there's anything cool that happened.
Yeah.
So we just started taping everything that we could. Yeah. And I hope you find those videos one day because it will be glorious. Some of the stuff that we put on film is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back all the way to the original Ian and Sean show, the idea of us doing a podcast and it kind of leading me to the feelers of today of being like, you know what? I just want to do a podcast about being positive. And, you know, it's weird, too, that, like, I kind of go through other podcasts, and there are a lot of, like, motivational podcasts out there and stuff like that, but there's not really anything that's just kind of centered around, like, just, you know, try and find the positive a little bit more. Try and baby steps. Like, the problem with a lot of, like, self-help and stuff like that is it seems, like, so grand that you can't get to it, you know? And the thing that I love about, like, music and art and the creativeness and adding those kind of things to it is it's just another baby step. You know, it's just another piece of your happiness puzzle. It's another thing that kind of leads to that well-rounded life.
Yeah, I totally I think I disagree with some of that, but I totally agree with like the well-roundedness of life. I think having a well-rounded life is really important. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, having a well-rounded life is great. The happiness portion, I think for me is like some music and some art make me really fucking sad.
Right, that's real. Yeah.
You know, so and sometimes I reach out to that stuff because I want that. Like, you know, if I'm going through something that's frustrating for me, it's kind of nice to have that sort of feeling, like amplified almost.
Yeah. Or like knowing someone else is going through it too. Like when a song can just hit the nail on the head for how you're feeling. Right. You know, like you know that artist in that moment was very similar to where your headspace is right now.
Yeah.
And that's something too that like I don't remember if we just talked about it or if it was talked about on one of the cuts that we missed or whatever else, but like I would love to feel more art like that, you know, and to like experience other people's art that way. And I think too, I like that you said like, you know, if you start looking at art rather than just the picture that's in front of you, but more like the emotion that it invokes from the person who did it in the moment, you know?
Sure, yeah.
Looking at it like that way really kind of opened my perspective to it.
Yeah.
Where it was like, you know, instead of trying to, like, you look at this painting on the wall that no one else can see us looking at over here, and, you know, it's very easy to just see it as the words that are there, you know?
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, the feelings behind it. The hey slut picture that you don't have hanging up right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What is
that's
it?
right here.
Okay.
Actually.
Yeah, you can show it to everyone. They probably all thought I was kidding when I said hey slut.
Hey slut, you look great. This is by Sarah Jean Anderson, who's a local artist who used to be in Super Happy Fun Time. And I mean, if you know Sarah, this is just so her. It's so her. Yeah, I love it.
Right? Every time I come over, I end up staring at that picture for a good 3 or 4 minutes.
It's like only guys who live in this house. But...
Right, which just makes it all the more funny that that's hanging on the wall. Ian, they can also find you for 2 more weeks around here. I know you have some show coming up with the trio, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got some shows. I have one this Saturday, which is November 16th.
November 16th.
At the Listening Room.
The Listening Room.
Yeah, which is a new venue here in Grand Rapids. So I'm playing with Cameron Blake, who's a really amazing singer-songwriter. We just started recording a new album.
Yep.
And then I also I've got a show this Thursday too that's in Petoskey, but then the following week, the 22nd, which is Friday, November 22nd, I'm playing with my good buddy Mark Lavengood at the Listening Room. So
Mark's the one who you said I need to meet, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you're like, you two will just get along way too well.
Yeah, man. Mark's a big ball of positive energy.
Okay. So I might have to go to that show,
You
the
should,
22nd then. And where's that one?
Listening Room.
Listening Room, new venue.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up and come out and meet Mark before you head out of town. And that's just before you leave. So
Yeah, it's like a couple days before I leave.
yeah. So that's one that you can count on me for. If you're watching this, you're given a heads up notice. You can show up to the Listening Room.
Yeah, you gotta get this
November
out
22nd.
before.
Right. Oh, it'll be out next Monday. So it'll be out before, thankfully. They won't know about your shows this weekend.
Okay.
Sorry. So if you're watching this on Monday, last weekend Ian had a show and it went awesome. Let me tell you all about it. It was fucking fantastic.
I hit no wrong notes.
Nope, nailed it. So now come and join us this coming Saturday.
Wait, yes.
Friday?
Is it Friday? It's Friday.
Friday. This coming Friday to hear the wonderful stylings of Mark Levingood with Ian Thompson at the Listening Room in Grand Rapids. And I have one more favor to ask before I let you go, Ian.
Yeah.
You know I'm going to make you grab that guitar behind you there, and we're going to play people off to one of my favorites that you had to learn from me a long time ago. We'll just give them a couple of riffs here. Stretched out. I know Justin is one of our YouTube listeners, and he's probably the only person out there right now who's like, oh, hell yeah! We'll have a good time tonight. Don't remember any of the other words. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the show. Best of what's around.
Stuff can pile up at once, you know. Look it, I just turned it. I didn't click anything. It just started.
It started recording totally on its own when you
On
put
its
it on
own.
the pad. That's fucked. Hello, YouTube.
We're having what you would call technical difficulties,
Yeah.
but
We'll see if this episode makes it to YouTube next week.
I think it will. It might just take an extra day. I got like 20 videos to go. Excuse me. Like 20 videos to go through now.
Well, as you guys just heard a nice conversation between me and Ian Thompson, I think me and Ben
We also had a great conversation.
can have quite a bit to talk about, too, from this one.
Yeah.
Because it's something that you are very passionate about as well.
Extremely passionate about. If there's one thing I'm passionate about besides beer and partying, it's art. And I think there's an art.
Do we need to record this for the podcast?
Yep.
All right. Thanks so much, Ian Thompson.
Thank you, Ian Thompson.
I
wish I would have been there.
I was just about to say that. I wish
Really
you would
wish
have
I
been
would've
there
been.
for that conversation because you two would get along swimmingly.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful, and I would love to hear from him as well because, as you all know, I would love in the future to be a professor or even a teacher of just somebody that is able to extend my passion onto a younger generation.
Yeah, especially for creativity.
And that's what he does.
Yep, not only teaches music, but now he's getting into like a coordinating position that'll help him do educational conferences and stuff like that for people year in and year out. So really exciting time for Ian. Really happy to have him on as a guest, and very, very grateful that he was willing to give us the opening to this show. He really sparked the BOWA Show podcast with a good song right from the get-go.
From day one, we had an intro.
We did.
I respected that.
Of all of the unprofessional things that we did, we had an intro.
We had an intro.
And a licensed one.
Yep, we didn't have an intro video. We didn't even have YouTube for a dozen or so shows.
Yep.
We had an intro. So get at us. We're pros.
Yeah, we're pros.
Kind of.
I've got my nice Miller Lite glass that I'm drinking water out of.
And I've got my water glass that I'm drinking Miller Lite out of.
It's true.
Or Busch Light, same thing, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But, no,
I think that's something you could talk about a lot, Ben.
Busch Light?
Well, no, I was thinking more along the creative process.
Oh, man, because you're right. Either one, though, I could talk a lot about. But I really enjoy Ian as a person because, as most of you know, I would love to be a professor or a teacher that can inspire a younger generation by what I'm passionate about in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be able to speak every day and have people who are also interested in similar things, or maybe not, listen to me. Most of the time it's people who aren't interested in listening to me, but not today. In the future. But I love the fact that everything he's doing, it came organically, and what he's doing now is he's appreciating all art forms, whether it be physical or visual art, musical art, comedy as an art form, all these things he acknowledges as forms of art, and even says at one point that life itself is a form of art. He was quoting this artist.
It was funny, you actually knew her name. Ian couldn't remember her first name. Ben can enlighten.
Well, I can't right now.
Oh.
But
Erica...
And I forget her last name.
Ukulele?
Something like that, yep. And I feel bad too, but the name sparked something in me. But it's about that every action throughout our daily lives is a form of art. And a lot of people say, what do you mean? Art's shit that's up on the wall. Well, yes, but art, when I went to art school at Michigan State University, one of the first classes we had was what is art?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I know a lot of people out there who have gone to similar universities or into similar... down similar educational paths. I've answered this question 100 times because it's the big one. It's the big one. What is art? For me, I say everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just like many artists out there today acknowledge that a handshake, me greeting you at the store, hey, how you doing? This and that. It's all art, and in an extent, it is art because Sean's doing one thing at one moment. I walk up to him at another moment and say, Sean, how you doing? All of a sudden, his path is now changed. That is art. It's beautiful. It is a change of perspective. It's a change of direction in where the universe or us as human beings are going.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that is all art is. Music is art because as we think and we hear it, it gives us an emotion. That changes where we were thinking or what we were doing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Visual art, whether you you see something on the wall and you love it or you don't, or it speaks to you or it doesn't, you see it and it changes the path to where you were going before you saw it. With comedy, we're all laughing. It makes you think. With anything, with dance, ballet, I do love ballet, and opera, just plays, movies, everything, even down to television shows, every single thing, even down to the conversation you have with your family or your coworkers, is art.
Mm-hmm.
Because it makes people think, it changes the trajectory of where any human being is at that one time, and it makes people think. I can say it 2, 3, 4 times in the same sentence. It makes people think. That is what art is. Art is the ability to take our human brains and expand on it. We as human beings are blessed to have a brain that is bigger than our bodies in some aspects. If you think about it, so many other animals out there are instinctual and thrive and survive, But humans, our number one aspect is not our strength, is not our ability for stealth, is not our ability for warmth. We have no hair on our bodies that can keep us warm in cold temperatures. We are not warm. We are not cold-blooded. Our main ability is our brain. Mm-hmm. The idea of greater thought. The idea that humans have thought, why are we here? That single question has created humans as a different species than other species on this earth.
The higher thinking.
We are the higher thinking species, at this point at least, on this planet. And I love the fact that he is in a career that inspires younger people in one of those avenues. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely wonderful. And I wrote down during the conversation that art is important beyond its initial mental effect. And I think that's very important because one thing I want to say is there's a lot of people out there who say, oh, I don't understand art. Some of my best friends. Mm-hmm. They say, oh, yeah, there's a painting on the wall. Shit, I could do that. Yep. And I've got a really good habit of looking at people when they say that. My mother is one of the first people I said it to. We went to the Grand Rapids Art Museum and we were looking at paintings and photographs, and one of the paintings was simply a single shade gradient from top down. It was about 6 feet wide, 6 feet tall. Just one color, purple from light to dark. Mm-hmm. Can't remember the artist at this point, but she says, I could do that.
Is your response always, why don't you?
You know what I said? I said, but you didn't. But you didn't.
Yep.
And so I'm looking at it and thinking, what caused this person to, it's all the thought that goes beyond it from, and we all look to National Geographic as full of amazing photographers, right?
Yeah.
And that's true. Do you know why these photos that people see in National Geographic are so influential to the people our age and anybody who even doesn't care about art? It's because they see it, they think about it, and they're moved emotionally. Either, wow, that's an amazing place, I've never seen that before. Wow, look at these animals that I've never seen before in such high detail. Or, wow, look at this human rights situation that's depicted. Mm-hmm. Look at this political situation that's depicted. Look at this current events situation that is being photographed. And you can feel the emotion directly from the photograph. Mm-hmm. That is art. Because it makes you think. Art is about making you think. Mm-hmm. Music, display, photos, I don't care what it is.
Pro wrestling.
I don't care if conversation
is art.
Is art, Sean. Yeah. Because when you speak, I think that's art. Mm-hmm. I love it. And Ian Thompson, I commend you for doing what you're doing as a career, because I myself would love to be where you are. And also, I love that stand-up bass in the corner that I saw in the interview. Man, I want to play that sometime. I want one of those myself. Just jamming out. That's right. Making my own art.
Yeah. And I think if you can have some takeaways from that, find your own outlet. You know, you find your art. Find the thing that speaks to you.
It doesn't have to be painting.
Right.
Or photography.
Yep.
Or collage.
Yep. I love comedy.
Creative outlet.
Yep. Find something that can creatively drive you, that you can channel your interest to. It may not be anything that ever pays the bills. It might be something that could turn into paying the bills.
95% of artists do not get paid for their art.
Right. It's about the creative art, the critical thinking, the creative thinking.
And I'll be the first one to say that 100% of Americans, 100% of humans, 100% of beings on this earth are artists. Animals, plants, humans. Mm-hmm. We all create something. We all cause thought. We're all artists. Mm-hmm. Will not pay the bills 99% of the time.
But it can be an aspect of your happiness, which is what's important.
It's all about deeper thinking.
Yep.
Deeper thinking causes you to think more about yourself, more about others, and more about the situation around you. And that's what causes yourself to find something that you can keep moving forward on.
Mm-hmm. I love that Ian said life is endless learning. And
yes, thank God it is.
Becoming okay with not knowing everything.
Because if there was a cutoff date to when I could stop learning, man, I'd have been stupid 20 years ago. I tell you, freaking what.
It's finding things that you like learning about. Mm-hmm. It's putting in the time and the effort to cultivate these new passions in yourself. to make them a part of your everyday life and to try and find some kind of passionate creativity that you can do all the time. We also had to get into the topic of just talking, being open with conversation. Me and Ian vary so much when it comes to ideologies, right? And we still are the best of friends just because of the fact that we've never shut each other out because we think differently. Instead, we use our differences to try and find common ground. We try and find places where we can agree.
I wrote about that.
But no matter what we do in this world, we are ultimately just trying to better each other and better our surroundings. And we're all trying to find peace, love, and happiness. And it doesn't matter whether you have a religious background or you could care less about religion. I'm pretty sure most of us in this world could agree not being a dick is a good thing.
I sure hope so.
Right.
I'm killing that. Well,
some days are better than others.
Yeah, 60-40. Yeah.
So we need to talk to each other. We can't close people out. Stop unfollowing all the people you disagree with on Facebook. Stop thinking that you have to cut your family off because you disagree with them.
Stop thinking that you need to leave your family to meet your dreams.
That's right. Find ways to open up and communicate with the world around you. Broaden your horizons and broaden the ideas that you surround yourself with. You don't have to totally agree with someone. You don't have to take on their opinions. You don't have to let them into your life. You know what I mean? To be able to have civil conversations with all the people around us. Stop shutting everybody else out. Let's make the world a little bit more close-knit.
No doubt. And I know you and I don't see eye to eye all the time. Well, I say we don't see eye to eye all the time on everything, but what I'm talking about too is you and I don't necessarily see the world the same way either. I mean, obviously anybody watching this knows it's yin and yang here, right? But I during the interview I wrote down that you said you've never experienced art, but I immediately thought it's not about the specific art. It's about feeling alive and appreciating what is in front of you and allowing it to change what you are thinking in the moment. Like I said, everything is art. Sean's always talked about how he's got friends in all sorts of different places that it just because he started talking to them. It meant a lot and he just did his thing, and that's art because he's thinking, they're thinking. It's important. And honestly, that makes me think every single person on this earth is an artist. We're all creating our own art. And the real art that I and a lot of other artists are trying to portray is thought and deeper thought. And I know for myself, it's always the idea that we can find a deeper connection as to why we're here, why we want to be happy, what does life mean. And I think that's what this whole podcast is about. And that's why this podcast is art. We're trying to find what can we do to be the happiest people we can be and inspire happiness around us. It really does make a whole lot of sense to this next quote that I wrote down. And Ian said, if you can hold the thing, referring to his bass, his stand-up bass, if you can hold the thing, you can get a gig. And I've been there. I understand. I literally did the exact same thing. I bought a bass, and I got a gig with TJ Wagonmaker Smith. Any of our listeners can understand or remember who TJ Wagonmaker Smith is. And it just feels different because it's like I've been there, and the same goes with the art of being human. You don't have to be a pro. You don't have to be the best guitarist, bassist. You don't have to be the best painter. Grab onto the thing. And if you grab onto it a little bit and say, I'm going to do this today, I'm going to be a little bit more positive. I'm going to go work out today, or I'm going to make one person smile, or I'm going to make myself smile. Grab onto it. Because if you just hold the son of a bitch, you can get a gig. And that gig is being a better person, or inspiring somebody else to be a better person, or inspiring thought. And for me, Sean, inspiring thought is art. All you gotta do is grasp on to what you're doing right now, and you're an artist. And an artist wants other people and themselves to think deeper about why we're here, what we're doing, and how can humans be happier.
Yep. Once a week, we make art on this podcast.
I make art every day, all day.
You do.
On accident. and that's because I think we all do.
Yeah. Well,
We
you've
really
also done a good job of finding a job that allows you to be around art a lot.
Yes, I'm very, very grateful.
Yep. And I know, too, you're an active member of, like, the Grand Rapids Art Museum, right?
Yes, I am.
Yep. You're finding ways to channel your passion for art in your everyday world, and that's something that I think a lot of people out there could strive for, too.
For me, shoot, I don't care where I go, I'm finding the art museum.
Right? Yeah.
I went to
out,
like 4 in Cleveland. Who thinks there's a lot of art museums in Cleveland? I found them, trust me. It was great. But I just love the idea that humans need to think more. As soon as we stop thinking, where do we go?
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere.
How do you feel? How do you feel about aliens, Ben?
I love aliens. I love the idea of aliens because.
Do you believe in aliens?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Let me tell you why, real quick. I know I rambled. We're on a big planet where it takes me 16 to 24 hours to fly across the world.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get there, it's a completely different time of day.
Yep.
Okay, it's a big planet. Billions of people on this planet. And we got a solar system that we can even see light years away.
Mm-hmm.
And we think we're the only sons of bitches in this whole sons of bitchin' place.
Yep.
Come on, dude. I don't care if it's evolution. I don't care if it's the Big Bang. I don't care if it's a religious belief. And if you do believe that God created humans in his own image and that the earth is the only place that he has created the life, and that's fine. We see a little bit differently there, and that's okay. But I personally am more on science's side here, where I say, look, if a small little microbe can create human beings and every other life form on Earth due to evolution and all the science behind it, don't you think that might just be possible in any of the other areas of the universe that take light years and millions and billions of years that we'll never see? Don't you think that may have happened? Maybe.
Somewhere else?
Maybe.
Right?
1 or 2 other...
Possibly.
million fucking times?
Yep.
Sorry, yeah.
See, me and Ian got into it, though, because our conversation led to, well, I believe, me personally, if they're smart enough to be able to do interstellar travel, they're smart enough to be advanced past things of like war and the primitive things that hold us back as a human species.
Oh, absolutely. They're smart enough to see the world and say, "Oh shit, they're talking about Donald Trump still. We gotta get the fuck out of there."
We need to stay away from
They're
that.
still fighting with each other. We don't want to go on to them.
Yep. So I think that they're smart enough to watch us from afar and kind of let us be primitive until we can like figure them out.
We're not a human race yet. We are a human race, but when it comes
divided
down to
human
we're
race.
an extremely divided species.
Yep.
And that in itself makes me believe that nobody would want to get in communication with us.
Yep.
We're just a big, ugly family fighting with each other.
Right.
Over the same shit. We're all in the same house, and we're all just fighting with each other over
one
shit
big
that don't
episode
matter.
of Jerry Springer down here.
Man, I tell you what, Jerry Springer times 3, maybe Maury.
Oh,
maybe
snap.
Maury.
Those
dude.
are fighting words.
No, I just believe that human beings got to get together and be with each other and create art. Every time you open your mouth, you're creating art. Every time you hug somebody, you're creating art. Every time you do anything, you're creating art. So you want it to be good art or bad art?
That's what I was going to say. So use that art for the better of society.
Don't make shitty art. Nobody likes looking at shitty art.
Right? I think that one easy form of art that we already kind of touched on pretty simply is comedy.
Damn straight.
And it's something.
But beforehand, do you want to talk about that or after comedy?
Yeah, let's talk about that now. So we're going to throw something out. I'm also going to do a little side video after we're done recording the show to promote this challenge. We'll see what kind of responses it gets. But it was a fan suggestion that said, hey, I think that a challenge idea for you guys would be a good way for people to become a little more interactive on their own time. So we're throwing out the first ever BOWA Show challenge.
And we're going to do this probably monthly. This one is probably only going to be a week or 2.
Yep, because it's tied into Thanksgiving and gratitude. And we know that there are a lot of gratitude challenges that go around there. But I don't think you can ever have too much gratitude.
No.
Survey says?
No.
Nope. No, not
Zero.
too much
No,
gratitude.
there's no such thing.
So the first ever BOWA Show challenge, if you're listening to this, if you're watching on YouTube, maybe this is something you could partake in. We want you to highlight someone in your life who brings you gratitude, who maybe is doing their part to better, their community. Maybe they better your life. Maybe they work with you. But we want to highlight people on the next couple shows and leading up to Thanksgiving who are doing those things that make you grateful for them. So
someone that's alive, someone that's not with us anymore, somebody that makes you think, somebody that you know, somebody that you don't, somebody that you work with, somebody that you know, somebody that you don't.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. It's somebody that makes you feel gratitude or somebody that you're thankful has been on this earth before.
Yep.
We want to hear about it. We want to see a picture of you with them if you can. Or we want to just hear about a story. Give us a nice story about them, or let us know why you care about them. Whether you post it directly on the BOWA Show podcast on Facebook, or whether you just direct message.
That's what I was
Sean
going to say. We can do it a couple of ways. You can message the show. Mm-hmm. You could post it directly to the Facebook page at the BOWA Show podcast. You could tag me or Ben in it. You could tag the BOWA Show in it. You could use the hashtag TBS Gratitude Challenge.
Please use the hashtag TBS Gratitude
Challenge.
Challenge.
TBS, the BOWA Show. We're not Turner Broadcasting Systems.
No, we're not. We're much
funnier. TBS, very funny. I love their sarcastic slogan. But anyway, this is the TBS challenge, the gratitude challenge. But
even if you don't comment or post or tag us or DM us, think about it in your own brains. Who makes you grateful? What's one person or thing or even a place that makes you feel grateful and happy that it is in your life or they are in your life? Find it and think about it and really take it in over the next week or two, because when we come back and we talk about this challenge at a later episode, we want you to be thinking about that person, place, or thing, or whoever or whatever makes you grateful. Because it's important that you reflect on what makes you feel whole or happy as a person.
Yeah, and maybe nobody else does it, but me and Ben will lead by example on these first couple challenges.
I already got my answer.
Hopefully in the future it'll be like an overwhelming response and we'll like be flooded with these kind of hashtags when we make them and stuff like that. But in the meantime, me and Ben will carry the weight and we'll hope that other people join along. But yeah, hashtag TBS Gratitude Challenge if you're willing to throw it out there on Facebook.
Or Twitter.
Yep.
One of these days I'm going to start being the moderator on our Twitter page and it's going to get rough.
Rowdy.
Real rowdy. Hashtag
Rowdy Twitter. Hashtag get with it.
Get with it.
So our first ever BOWA Show challenge, and as I said, we're going to make a short video too after this, plugging it, that we'll throw up sometime during the next week. But yeah, if you guys are willing to be a part of that, we would appreciate your support, as we always do.
Or don't post on us at all, because I don't give a shit. When it comes down to this challenge, I want you to be thinking about it. This is for you.
Yeah, the gratitude makes you feel good.
To think about. Okay? It's all on you. If you don't want to be grateful, don't be grateful. But if you can't honestly think of one person that has made your life better, one place that has made your life better, one thing that has made your life better, all those three things happen to be the same thing for me. Then fine. Bounce out, kick rocks, pack a lunch. But
you're probably not listening to us anyway if that's how you feel.
The challenge is be grateful. Think about it. Just think about what makes you grateful. That's all we can ask.
Yeah. And if you're doing that, I guarantee your life will improve, if only a little.
Even if only a little bit.
Yeah. Baby steps. I think we talk about that a lot on this show.
Let me think.
We do?
Yep. Yes, we do.
Why don't we baby step our way right into some comedy here?
Oh, good shit, too.
And
some good shit comedy is some real good stuff.
From the Laugh Factory. His name is Tony Rock.
Tony Rock.
The name of the clip is called The Whitest Thing Ever.
I can relate. It's amazing.
After you hear it, too, I think you probably agree anyway. So
definitely.
Go ahead and enjoy Tony Rock. We'll make sure we tag him in this, too. And, check out The Laugh Factory on YouTube. Make sure that while you're there, you're subscribing to them like you're hopefully subscribing to us. We're slowly growing.
They do amazing stuff. They got smaller artists comedians.
Big name
they got
guys.
big name
All over the
guys
place.
all over the place.
Yep.
So you got to check them out.
Yep. Enjoy.
I was at the airport flying here. I was flying here last week. I saw arguably the whitest thing I ever saw in my life in the airport on the way here. Now, granted, I've seen some white shit. Like, I've been to Disneyland before. I've seen an episode of Big Bang Theory before. I was like, this shit is white. But what I saw in the airport topped both of those. I saw a white guy in the airport make a citizen's arrest. Even the white people like, holy shit, that's white. And this is why it was the whitest thing I ever saw, because the motherfucker said, you stand right there, I'm making a citizen's arrest. And I was like, yo, this is the whitest fucking thing I ever saw in my life. And he was so serious. Now here's the story, okay? I'll give you the story. I gotta give you the story. I'm flying New York, LA. I'm flying out of gate B1, right? Gate B2, plane just landed. So everybody's getting off the plane, and there's a sign. I'm gonna give you the whole story. There's a sign on the wall right here that says baggage claim with an arrow pointing that way. 99% of the people that got off the plane look at the sign and they go, baggage claim, let's head to baggage claim. Now granted, there's an elevator door right here, right? One little white girl, like 16, 17 years old, gets off the plane, looks at the sign, presses the button for the elevator. This is gate B2. Now I'm at gate B1 watching the whole thing happen. In true Negro fashion, I don't want to get involved. So I see she's making a mistake. I could have easily been like, hey, white girl, no, it's down there. But I didn't give a fuck. So I sat right there with my headphones on like, ha, 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 ha. I made a song of everything. White girl going the wrong way. White girl going the wrong way. So she gets on the elevator, presses the button, doors close, goes down. Now apparently, this is the elevator that takes people down to the plane to load and unload the plane. So she realizes she made a mistake, gets back on, comes back up. It took the whole thing took like a minute. So when she gets off the elevator, when she came back up, white guy sitting in gate B1 with us, he fucking jumps into full white guy mode. He sees her get off the elevator, he's like, I didn't know white people pace before they make their stance. He was like, he was pissed. Did anybody see that? Anybody see that? Anybody see that? And there's another white guy like, what happened? What happened? He looks at me like to see if I was gonna back him up. Like, yeah, I saw it. I didn't want to get involved. He looked dead at me. I was like. So another white guy's like, what happened? He's like, she went down to the plane and came back up without authorization. Without authorization. He kept saying that. I was like, why do people really care about authorization? Like, niggas go where they want to go, just so you know. If you authorized to be here, you authorized to kiss my ass? So the other white guy's like, wow, yeah, she went down. He's like, yeah, she went down and came back up without authorization. And then he stops the white girl. Excuse me. And she stops like, so what are you doing? What are you doing? And she's like, I thought it was baggage claim. I went down and came back up. It was so I'm gonna go get my bag. No. You can't go down. You don't have the authorization to go down in the plane. So you stand right there, and I was like, oh shit, it's getting white. You stand right there. I'm phoning this in. I'm making a citizen's arrest. And he pulled his cell phone out and dialed the number. Like, I'm at gate B1. You should send somebody over here. I'm making a citizen's arrest. And security came. So now I was like, yo, what the fuck is that number he dialed? Because I'm pretty sure niggas don't know it. And security came. He came over. It's like, airport security, they don't give a fuck. They're like high school dropouts and shit. He came over eating a slice of pizza. Like, well, what happened? And he's like, she went down to the plane and came back up without any authorization. And the security guard didn't give a fuck. He's like, okay, sir, have a seat, sir, have a seat. Went to the white girl, like, what happened? She's like, I went down. Go get your bag. I don't give a fuck. Go get your bag. Now he comes back over to our section, like, yeah, you see that? I get involved. It's a problem with America. People don't get involved. I see something, I say
I
something.
knew he was going to say
I
that.
get involved. We're like, good for you, motherfucker. What you want, a cookie, motherfucker? Now the plane's board, he's telling everybody the story. So then I said, you know, you stand right here, I'm making a citizen's arrest. Everybody's like, yeah, good for you, sir. Can you walk? Can you walk, please? Can you just walk? Plane takes off, he's telling the flight attendant she coming through with the drinks. And then I said, she pushing the cart like, apple juice, orange juice, motherfucker, what you want?
Tony Rock, funny guy.
I recorded that, Sean.
Oh, I didn't know you were recording that.
I won't now.
Another classic from the Laugh Factory.
Definitely love Laugh Factory. The different types of comedians they have on there every day is absolutely unbelievable.
Yep.
Everybody from from the Roots all the way up to some of the big ones.
Yep.
Like last week, my personal favorite. If you haven't heard it, go listen.
Turdleys. I saw.
I saw it.
On lawn duty,
Dude,
dude.
lawn duty Sundays 7 to 9, dude. God,
It really rings home true for you.
dude, I just feel so white listening to that last clip.
Well, because
I
you can relate.
Well, I have, and don't take this the wrong way, but a couple of times I have thought about performing a citizen's arrest.
Like somebody needed it.
Most of the time when I'm driving, I just want to drive someone slowly off the road and be like, look here,
Get out of your vehicle.
Get out of your vehicle, citizen's arrest, all right? It's a blizzard out and you're going 60. Get the fuck out of your car.
That's right.
Doesn't work.
No.
Doesn't work. I'm not saying I tried, but I tried one time. And that's pretty white.
Yeah, man. Real white.
This is a good one, Sean.
Yeah, it was a good episode today.
Thank you so much, Ian Thompson, for
Yep.
being on the show today.
Being a good guest, being our opening theme, being someone who sparked an easy talking point for us today. And guests just
we can talk about it 100 more times. I would love to have Ian Thompson again so that he and I can converse about artwork.
Yup, exactly. Yeah, I would bet he would hit you with better questions, and you would hit him with better questions because you're actually, in the field as well.
I think so.
I think it's a good point in the episode, though, where we put the fans over. We put the people over who listen to this episode on a regular basis. You guys are the lifeblood of this show. Thank you so much, as always, for joining us. I can't tell you guys enough how much we appreciate your love and support. To see it continuing, to see it growing and manifesting into something more is amazing.
Yeah, we've had amazing outreach lately from some of our biggest fans, specifically Aaliyah. Thank you so much for everything you've given to us.
Yeah, great points, great insight, great references to move forward. Ideas for guests, a lot of hard work that we can't tell you how much we appreciate.
And we may talk about love languages at some point because I'm excited about that. Don't make it weird.
Nope, we won't make it weird. Well, we will continue to say thank you. Thank you so much for being a wonderful person, for trying to make your life a little bit better, for using the BOWA Show as your positivity package for the week. Living a positive life in a world that makes that incredibly difficult. You can always find us wherever you get your podcasts.
Where?
Apple, Google Play, Spotify, Podbox, wherever you get your podcasts, you can absolutely find the BOWA Show. You can find us on Facebook, the BOWA Show
and
podcast.
Twitter.
Yeah, we don't talk
Come
about
at me,
Twitter. One day we'll be like the Wendy's account and just roast people all day long on Twitter. But until we get to that, with our 7 followers, thank you so much.
It's been such a great run in 32 episodes. Feels like just the beginning, but also it feels like we've got our feet on the ground.
Yeah, but we're just getting started.
I love it.
If you're on YouTube, make sure you've clicked that subscribe button, the little notification bell right next to it. You can always, always, always share positivity with us. We want our lives to be better by your lives being better and sharing that good news with us, sharing pieces.
Send us your stuff. Send us good stories. Send us your comments. Send us good and bad too. Corbin, if you're out there, send us your bad comments as well. We'd love to.
We can take constructive criticism.
I wouldn't even call it constructive. It's just criticism.
Whatever. We can take criticism. This is the BOWA Show. Tough skin. I did comedy. I can take it.
Yeah, I agree.
We love you guys. Thank you so much. Spread some love. Tackle today. And as always, make the best of what's around. That was a good one today. Thanks, YouTube. You guys, fantastic. Why does it sound choppy? In the middle of fading? It's doing its own thing. That was a good one, Sean.
Yeah.
Feel good about it. Nice, easy hour-and-a-half banger. This is probably close to 2 hours for you guys on YouTube. We love you. Thank you so much for being a part of the BOWA Show. Thank you for joining us today.
And let's make the best of what's around this week.
Get out there and kick some ass. Just do it. Woo! Fucking do it. Woo!
The videos you've been posting on Facebook, Sean?
That's right.
Woo! Motivating.
Woo! 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 Thanks, guys.
We're working now?